Welcome to the 14th edition of the Toronto Global Forum. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue à la 14e édition du Toronto Global Forum. For the most part, this edition of the forum will be staged live and virtually under the macro theme, Forging a Resilient Economy, with a focus on finance, economy, innovation, infrastructure, energy, agriculture, trade, and health. Clearly, every session will have an overlay of COVID-19 and its impact on economies, jobs, and societies in general. The Toronto Global Forum is uniting some of the world's top legislators, politicians, economists, Fortune 500 CEOs, and industry experts together online for impactful discussions on the major challenges facing the economy in these unprecedented times. This year's program will include enlightening discussions on the global recovery, sustainable investing, the digital economy, and the future of healthcare, education, agriculture, and employment. It has been my pleasure to serve as chair of the advisory board for the last several years. I've witnessed the forum's growth and expanding reputation as the preeminent conference, certainly in North America and possibly the world. But never before have I witnessed the challenges facing this conference, Global Leaders Canada, and the world. ACON, the company that I chair, has also had to adapt to today's realities. On a personal note, I wish to recognize and thank our frontline workers and their families. Our industry was designated an essential service, and we, thanks to you, rose to the occasion. As far as ACON's business is concerned, the support of governments at all levels has been and continues to be of critical importance as we all look forward to better days ahead. Presented by Cogeco, this year's Toronto Global Forum will bring together more than 150 speakers and delegates representing 65 countries. 150 journalists from around the world will be covering this event and its outcomes to their viewers, readers, and listeners. We have a potential audience of 15,000 virtual attendees from around the globe, including all of the Americas, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. I encourage all of you to actively participate in this year's event. The Toronto Global Forum organizers have built platforms allowing you to have discussions and meet virtually with your fellow delegates. Visit the information kiosks being hosted by our public sector partners to understand how they're building their economies and creating jobs. If you're looking to expand your business, if you have job openings, let us know. Let our public sector partners know. And most importantly, let your fellow delegates know. Finally, a quick word of thanks to Cogeco as a presenting partner, and indeed all of our partners for providing their continued support and guidance during these very complicated times. And to Nick Remillard, the CEO, and to Joe Clark, the president, and the entire Global Forum team, many thanks and best wishes for a highly successful and productive conference. And to all of you, I wish you a very interesting and enjoyable conference. Thank you. Merci.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you today to this 14th edition of the Toronto Global Forum, a very special virtual edition. On behalf of the 4,500 employees, Cogeco is proud to be the presenting partner again this year of this flagship economic event that brings together thought leaders and industry giants from all over the globe year after year. Cogeco has had the good fortune to be involved with the Toronto Economic Forum for 8 years now. We're very pleased. We've seen it develop and grow in stature. I'm truly gratified that despite the fact that we're living through a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, Forum's resolute organizers persevered in finding a way to bring us all together. If this pandemic keeps us physically apart, it also makes it all the more important that we have these kinds of discussions that this event can bring. As the 8th largest cable operator in North America and the largest radio broadcaster in Quebec, Cogeco has always been committed to connecting people to ensure that they have access to valuable news, information, to the digital economy, and to ensure that they have access to valuable learning and entertainment. Now, more than ever, we can really see the value that high-quality connectivity services bring to the many regional and rural communities we serve in Ontario, in Quebec, and across 11 eastern seaboard states of the U.S. Thanks to these technologies, but most of all, to the dedicated staff behind them that make this service available and reliable 24/7, we can have these discussions, such as the ones we are having in the next 3 days. I know we would all prefer to sit, chat, shake hands, and share a meal, but we should be very grateful that events such as this one can still take place and help us find actionable solutions for a just, resilient, and inclusive economy for all. Now, please join me in welcoming a man who has spent the larger part of his life serving the City of Toronto. Born and raised in this city, John Torrey began his public service in the 1980s when he served as Principal Secretary to then Premier Bill Davis and as Associate Secretary to the Ontario Cabinet. In 2004, John Torrey was elected leader of the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario and was leader of the official opposition at Queen's Park in 2005. Mayor Torrey was named to the Order of Ontario in 2012 for being a consummate champion for the Greater Toronto Region. He has been Mayor of Toronto since 2014, having been re-elected to office in 2018, where he brings action-oriented yet measured, no-nonsense, open and rational mindset. He has brought much success and renown to his city, and under his leadership, Toronto has attracted jobs and investment and emerged as an undisputed center for innovation and opportunity on the world stage. Please join me in welcoming Mayor John Torrey, Mayor of this great city of Toronto.
Good morning, Mayor John Torrey here, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 14th edition of the Toronto Global Forum. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this year's forum is taking place virtually. The City of Toronto has been a strong supporter of the Toronto Global Forum for many years, and we're excited to be able to support this exceptional event taking place virtually once again this year. By registering for the forum this year, you have helped to make this edition the largest ever, as we anticipate up to 15,000 delegates, 150 distinguished speakers from government, from business and civil society, and 150 media members from around the world, meeting to discuss some of the most crucial issues facing us today. Think about that for a minute. The pandemic has actually allowed even more people than ever to take part, and we can get all of their ideas, all contributing to the theme of this year's forum, which is Forging a Resilient Economy. So it gives us a chance to discuss the directions that our cities and provinces or states and our countries need to take to address one of the most serious human health crises and the consequent economic shocks that we have ever faced in our history. If you think back about it, there have been many bad things that have happened over history, but this has certainly been a severe shock on both the health and the economic front. So it's very, very important that we come together virtually to talk about how we can confront the COVID-19 pandemic, but also how we can confront and indeed benefit from and come back strong from its economic consequences, which have been so drastic for so many people around the world. I am determined as Mayor of Toronto to make sure that our city does everything that it can, everything that our city government can do to stop the virus, but also then to help our residents and businesses who've been hurt by this emergency. We've been very focused on helping the most vulnerable people during the course of the pandemic to date, but we've also increasingly become focused on helping businesses because in the end, people's good health and their well-being are going to be most supported by having a good job and by having businesses back on their feet, because a healthy city requires healthy people, and all of that can produce a healthy economy. I am confident that through this work and through important discussions like those at the Toronto Global Forum, we will make sure that we build back better, and that our city and communities around the world in all of your different countries will emerge stronger than ever. I'm an optimist about that. I believe the good bones are still out there as they were before the pandemic, and we just have to make sure we capitalize on that. Now, I also invite you to participate in the Latin American Business, Trade and Economic Outlook on Wednesday morning, a session organized by the City of Toronto in collaboration with Latin American consulates based here in Toronto. So in closing, I want to say hang in there first and foremost. It's been a tough time for all of us, but I want to thank you for participating in this year's forum. I hope we will be able to see each other in person at the 15th edition of the Toronto Global Forum next year.